Alrighty, so here's a brief discussion. I was going to do this live, but I am not going to be able to do this, so I'd rather record it and share my thoughts with you in this way. And then you can leave any comments if you like. So I am, come 2 months ago, entering my birth year 2022 with the archetype, major arcana archetype of the Hermit. And I have a video that's going to be following this that gives a breakdown based on a discussion from Justin Michael on his channel um, with his guest Chris of Elemental Cartomancy, where Jonathan Daly was talking about the birth cards and changing the number, the placement of the order of these cards to include the Fool as 22. So it's a little bit over 30 minutes, but I go briefly through the layout that I saw. Hopefully I got it correct. And in that video, I will include the link of the discussion with Justin Michael and Elemental Cartomancy, where they were showing this breakdown in the relationship of these cards with the arcana. I don't want to spend too much time on that because the video that I have recorded will discuss that in more detail. But here I wanted to share some insight because I'm already 2 months into this wonderful card of the Hermit. This is from the Guild Tarot. And when I did the numerical layout of the archetypes, the major arcana archetypes, in the manner that I did, the card that I got underneath the Hermit was the Moon card. Okay, so numerically, we're looking at the numbers when you watch that video all line up. So they're the numbers, if you want to reduce them down, those cards will already be in line for that primary archetype. So for instance, if you are the Judgment, I'm looking over because I still have the layout here. Judgment is 20. So 2 plus 0 is 2. So you can make reference to that card for the High Priestess or Justice, because Justice can be seen as 11 depending on what system you want to do, or Strength can be read as 11. But in this case, because I worked with the Guild Tarot, you can add that Justice card 1 and 1 for 2. So you have 3 cards. Okay, Judgment is your primary archetype card, and then you have the Justice and the High Priestess. Here, the two cards that I got, the Moon and the Hermit. Now the way I break this down is I'll repeat it again. To find your birth year card, add up the date, the month, the date, and the year. Add those numbers together, and whatever number you get, like for this year, add your birth date. And we'll start over. Add your birth month, your date, and this year, 2022, or whatever year you want to look at. If you want to look at previous years, find out what that card was, or if you want to jump forward, just add that particular year to your birth date, the month and the date. Add those numbers together. Okay, now if they go past 22, like if they're 23, add those numbers together. Okay, so we got 5. So you can look at that card and make that in reference to the Hierophant or Temperance, because 1 plus 4, that's 5, and that's the card related to the High Priest, if you want to do it like that. But here, and you can also do the journey. You can look back and see the cards of your previous years and see how that energy is lined up to where you are now. But here, I was already feeling this energy of the Hermit card. when I made the decision to relocate, because obviously things were changing, and when you're in a place of change and things are, of course, moving around and whatnot, and you get settled into where you are, it's just that you have to settle and you have to start connecting to your environment where you are, the energy, the people, emotionally, physically, spiritually, how you're feeling. Okay, that's the external side. Here with the Hermit, I love the beauty of this because it's masked. Everything that you're taking in, that you're experiencing, is now there's no there's nothing to really distract you. The external realm is completely covered so that you can focus internally on what's going on. We all have this light inside of us. And what's interesting too is recently I had a bad bout of not sleeping very well. I woke up numerous times, and at one point, I turned on the lamp. I felt like I needed some light, something, I don't know, to kind of soothe me or to kind of help me settle with whatever was disturbing me for sleep. So I turned on this light, and it was too bright. It's a soft light, and it had a shade over it, but it was still too bright. I don't know what time I woke up, probably 3, 4 in the morning. So your eyes are still adjusting. So what I did was I moved that light source into the closet, and I just closed the door so that there is literally not so much an abundance of light, but there's just like a little trail of light. And somehow that light it seemed like where it needed to be. And interesting enough, eventually I was able to fall asleep. There's something happened where maybe the darkness was too much for me at that moment when I woke up, and I needed something. And as soon as I put that light in that closet and just having a little bit of light coming into the room for some sort of guidance, I felt much better. And so this is how I relate part of my experience of the Hermit with that situation. Now, the other thing too here, because of the reduction of the moon coming down to 9, this is the energy that I feel the Hermit will be working through. Okay. The moon is the subconscious. Okay. No distractions. Okay. Here we're covered. We just have light. We also have the moonlight here. But here, this is a time of where we need to start looking in. I need to start looking in more and finding exactly what is needed, what is of importance, where am I best guided to, and pay attention to those feelings. I feel the Hermit card is a card where I really need to work, and the Moon card, more the Moon card than the Hermit, is to work more listening to my intuition, working with that energy more, facing those fears. I'm going to move this a little bit more closely. We have little drops of blood, so there's some sacrifices. There's going to be some, um, risks that need to be taken. Okay, this is all the revelation of what's going on inside. And so I feel thus far with the Hermit, I'm just starting to get to this point here. And so this will be a year. It doesn't have to be a year of this kind of energy, but it's something that will be the focus. It's something that I really am feeling called to. Looking at this Moon card, it's given me some food for thought. It really is. because now everything external, everything outside becomes, I'm not going to say irrelevant, but becomes less of the issue. The issue becomes more of this energy. Going between the realms, processing those experiences, internalizing it, looking back as to what's happened. I also feel that there's going to be probably a lot of dreams, and I've already had a few dreams, but dreams of people either that I hadn't seen in a while, or people who've just popped into my mind. I had a friend that I hadn't seen in years, and he came to mind, and I just reached out, sent a message to him, just seeing how they're doing, and they're doing good. But just things like that, when we dream or we bring in influences that we are normally not connected with, but we have seen, we somehow internalize it. We don't realize it, right? We pick up keywords or actions that people take. We take that in, and we break it down, and somehow it comes into our dream realm, our psychosis. So there's something from that action, that influence, that just triggered something. And don't be surprised if you see a kid on a bike, for some reason you dream of a child on a bike, but in a different scenario. There's something at that moment when you saw that scene that awakened something inside of you. And that's something that, we can explore, and that I will explore. Try to make sense. Try to see what's missing. I'm seeing steps. I'm seeing things of where the past does come up. Like I said, people that I hadn't seen or haven't thought about, they just randomly pop into my head. It's like, okay, doesn't necessarily mean it's something predictive, but it's something just to keep in mind. It's an aspect of that individual, and again, that action, that environment that played a role inside. So maybe something you're missing that you would like to experience, or maybe something you don't really like, but it's coming up to face what the issue could be. So this journey here of the Hermit's going to be interesting, and not that any spiritual awakening or journey or path work wouldn't be, but I'd like to see what's going to happen between from this time on to next year of my birthday, and see where that energy comes into play. So if you have any questions about this, I want to pose an exercise for all of you, and I'd like you to take part. You can combine it with this video and the episode of breaking down your birth year cards with the major arcana, to include the Fool. Very simple. What is your birth card for this year or previous years, or your birth card from the time that you were born? Okay, and mine's the Hierophant for the year that I was born and my birth date. So that's another thing that I could take into consideration, that influence of who we are with that archetype of our birth card from the year that we were born, and relate it to this current year, to whatever card that you have. So the Hierophant, the Hermit, and the Moon, those are three powerful cards right there. All the major arcana cards are, but they mesh together in different ways. So that Hierophant can be of something of guidance, like trusting the experience that I've had, but to see some different aspects of my journey, my birth card journey from this year until next year, and see what happens. But this, I feel, is going to be the key. So again, any cards that come in, if you reduce the numbers, like I said, the Judgment 20, for the number 2, Justice 11, 2, and of course the High Priestess, you can relate those cards together if that is your year. If your birth card year is Justice, you work with the Judgment card. You can also work with the High Priestess, or just one of those three cards, whatever you connect with. But also just be open to those other cards, because I think there's there's more of a message that can be said there for that particular birth year card. I hope that makes sense. So anyhow, join me. Leave in the comments. Let me know how you feel about your birth year card, if it's coming up or what year you're currently in until your birthday comes. It's an interesting journey. Just be open to it and be mindful. Do a few cards. You don't have to do a big spread around those cards, but just pull a few cards to get maybe some more insight. All right, so here I go, beginning the journey of the Hermit with the guidance of the moon for the next year. Soul searching and awakenings is what I'm seeing, and revelations, and facing some things that, are deep-seated. We'll see how those manifest. Alrighty, thank you for watching. Watch the next video that I have for that major arcana overview, the breakdown for the birth cards. And again, any questions, comments, leave them here. Feel free to let people know about this channel if you like what I have to say, you like the energy coming from it. Please spread the word around. Greatly appreciate it. I do readings. All that information's in the description. You can see the list of readings that I have on my website, what's available, so on and so forth. So let's do a reading together. Be happy to guide you in whatever way is possible. All right. Have a wonderful day, evening, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. Thank you again for the support and for watching.